Good evening, welcome to the December 9th, 2014 meeting of the Rhinebeck Village Board of Trustees. We have with us County Legislator Joel Tyner to start our evening. We don't have any microphones tonight, so we've been asked to
speak loudly.
Yes.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Tyner.
4-7 no. Do you want to take one of those and pass them on? I only have one of those. So first things first, there seems to be a member of the village board here interested in Dutchess County passing a law similar to Ulster County's local law respecting the outdoor restraint of companion animals. I just looked it up, Board Member Crookshank. So I'm all over it. I'm going to try to propose something like that for here in Dutchess County. Apparently they just passed it, sane, humane legislation to protect the pets in Dutchess County. So there it is.
Thank you very much.
There you go. I wanted to also invite everybody tomorrow at 6 p.m. right across the way at Rhinebeck Town Hall, doing a forum and a potluck with David McCarthy and Maria Rhinebeck of the Hudson Valley Current. It's a local currency. There's 150 local businesses participating. The website is hvcurrent.org. It's part of this whole new economy movement. We're going to have songs from folk singer Pat LaManna, and so don't miss it. That's tomorrow night, Wednesday night, 6 p.m., Rhinebeck Town Hall, just across the way. I also wanted to let people know, there's a lot of information kind of floating around these days. I don't know if you read the Saturday Poughkeepsie Journal. The truth is that one of the reasons why I voted against the proposed budget for 2015 is because it raised the county tax rate. I know you might be hearing other things, but look at Saturday's Poughkeepsie Journal. Or just call somebody in county government. I believe, hopefully, they'll be honest with you. The tax rate right now is $3.65 per $1,000 worth of assessed value. The 2015 Dutchess County tax rate will be $3.68 per $1,000 of assessed value. I went to middle school here at Buckland Middle School in Rhinebeck. I graduated from Rhinebeck High in 1981. I learned in Rhinebeck that 8 is bigger than 5. Okay? They voted to raise the county tax rate. That's why I voted no. Okay? There's a lot of very interesting stuff going around. Nasty robocall that just went on. I sent a letter, two email letters yesterday to everybody that I know in county government saying, please can we talk about this instead of these hit and run robocalls? And actually next Tuesday at 5:30 at Rhinebeck Town Hall, I'm hosting an open and public forum. I've asked them to defend their robocall attack. Let's civilly, openly debate and discuss it. But you can't call jacking up the county tax rate from $3.65 per $1,000 of assessed value to $3.68 per $1,000 of assessed value. That's not a tax cut. That's a tax hike. Period, ipso facto, QED, end of story. The other thing is, one of the things that I passed out is 4 of us in the county legislature signed on to a letter saying that we really need to get back to the village of Rhinebeck, get back to the town of Rhinebeck, get back to the town of Clinton, get back to the city of Poughkeepsie, the sales tax revenue that has been stolen from it. And the town supervisor of Rhinebeck, justifiably and understandably, she says it's okay for me to describe her feelings on this regard as livid because of all the money that's been stolen. Basically $50,000, $60,000 a year for the last couple of years from the town, God knows how many tens of thousands from the village government. And so I circulated a letter, 3 legislators signed on to it, saying we're wasting too much money in the county criminal justice system, we're wasting too much money on the county incinerator, all of a sudden we have to double the county budget for tourism. For God knows how many years it's been $600,000 a year for the Department of Tourism, $600,000 a year, $600,000 a year. Now all of a sudden it has to be over $1 million a year? Really? And then the Senior Friendship Center, at the Good Shepherd Church, there's like 8 or 9 of these senior friendship centers in the Dutchess County Office for the Aging. It would only take $230,000 to bring back the 5-day week for the senior friendship centers. That's half of what they're adding to the Department of Tourism. There's a lot of reasons why I voted no to the budget, okay? He said, she said, I'm just looking for an open discussion instead of these hit and run nasty robocalls. So that is going to be happening. And if the county executive and the county Republican chair and none of the Republicans in the county legislature can make it next Tuesday at 5:30 at the town hall, rest assured, the town clerk of Rhinebeck tells me that January 13th is open, January 14th is open, January 23rd is open. So that's it. The only other thing is we're doing our Repair Cafe. Our next Repair Cafe is going to be happening Saturday, January 17th, from noon to 4 p.m. at Town Hall. We had a lot of people at the beginning of our last one. We need more repair coaches. If you guys, any Mr. Fix-Its or Mrs. Fix-Its here, if you know anybody else, I don't want to see 20 people sitting waiting for a little bit too long. That's what happened last time. We had a huge, massive influx. So I'm not, nothing special on this planet. I'm just trying to bring people together. If you or anybody here knows somebody who knows how to help fix stuff, I mean, we got stuff fixed. We got a lot of happy people last time, but I just want a few more happy people. So give me a call, 453-2105, 876-2488. I should have said happy holidays. Thank you for your patience. I need to run to the Clinton Town Board meeting. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Joel. Thanks, Joel. Next on our agenda is a report from our treasurer. We have a couple items here that on the first page there, but basically looking at a balance of $940,000 in our general fund. That's the first two lines combined. 520 in our capital equipment reserve, 600 in the water fund, and 655 in the sewer fund. That doesn't account for some of the escrow monies that are set aside, health reimbursement accounts. And she's attached to print out an expanded report for all of us to review and talk to our department heads about. And we'll be scheduling, probably putting out a budget workshop for next Thursday at 7 o'clock, which we'll be going through those details.
I need to understand the capital part of this here. It's not part of it. It's not in there
Okay.
yet. So I have to talk to Karen.
So next Thursday will be, our first opportunity to ask those questions of our treasurer as we got the new software and all the data is caught up to date now. So this should put us on firm ground for moving into next year's budget season. You notice the last column gives us a percentage that's available year to date, so, which includes 7 months.
It's through November, right? So it's
Well, it says period 1 through 7 on there.
June, July, August, September, October, November. So we have it through the year.
Yeah,
If it is November.
it does say 1 to 7, but maybe it's including through
6, maybe.
12/9 maybe. Yeah, it looks like 6 to me. It's fine. Yeah, we'll be able to work through it all on Thursday, so please take a look at it. Come prepared with questions so that we'll be really ready to go come springtime when we have to get down to it.
And this is the new format for the
Yeah.
new
Yep.
KDS.
I think what she's
system.
going to be doing is putting it, when it comes time for budgeting, they're going to put it in that old spreadsheet format so we can see the previous years.
Mhm.
But this should be what we'll be getting every month, and you'll be able to look at it for your department and determine, where you're at year to date and if things are looking right or not right. So we can have them addressed, between meetings, so that next month all the errors you identified this month or changes will be ready to go.
Okay.
So we can do a lot less of that in our springtime budget workshops. Next is the water department, Heinz.
Okay. We treated 14,472,000 gallons this month. I'd like to talk a little bit about the valve control project that we were supposed to get started this week, and we had a little bump in the road in that one of our pumps, the control board broke, and pump number 2, and we were scrambling to find a replacement for it, and at first couldn't find it, but then we had one in the water plant. That's the first time they ever changed these control items, and it's on a 50-year-old pumping system.
First time in 50 years?
50 years. Yeah.
Wow.
We had just had one. We actually had two, but one of them had broken. And so the pumps are running, and that's good. And now we were looking for replacements when we found out that we have these old control panels in there. We thought about maybe replacing the control panels, and we couldn't get a hold of the engineer in Rochester, Earthman Anthony, after Nancy left. And so we thought we can maybe figure out to buy a control panel and stick it in there. We decided not to do that. On Monday I finally got a hold of the engineer, and they thought that we can get an alternate control part and quite a bit less money. And so I'm not going to come here for a change order at this time. We're going to use the old one, and then sometime next week I'm going to come in to buy additional parts and spare parts for the control panels. So right now we are planning to install this next Tuesday. We have the wiring already put in for it, and so we're moving ahead. Water distribution system. We went out for bids for engineering support for the distribution system. We sent out 8 requests, and we got 6 bids back. We need to do a little bit more work. I asked some additional information from 3 bidders, and we will get that by the end of the week. And we'll sit down and sort it out, and then trying to figure out where we go from there. I had, as part of that, I got an email from a company in Fishkill, an engineering company in Fishkill. It's, I think, a 1- or 2-man operation, but they do horizontal drilling and pipe bursting. And what it means, actually a horizontal directional drilling. They enter on one side and then drill right through for, they can go up to 500 feet or so, and then drill the pipes through that. Or they can, and that's horizontal drilling. They can also do pipe bursting, and what that means is that they use an existing pipe, and let's say we have a 6-inch pipe, and we want to put a 10-inch pipe in there. They put a pilot in there with something that looks sort of like a bullet, but it's very, very strong, connected to a steel cable, and they pull it right through there with real heavy-duty machinery. And in the process, it breaks the pipe up, and right behind it, it pulls another pipe in place. I mean, it's a really exciting kind
We
of
might
thing.
be able to use that for storm drainage.
I was thinking exactly the same thing. So this weekend I spent all day going through magazines from the library and what we had on the water plant, and that's actually what they do. And I was thinking of the Route 9 situation, where we have these clay pipes in there, and they're quite deep, and you can pull these pipes right through there, and so on. So
The difference is that they're gravity though. Drainage pipes are gravity fed, whereas the water pipes are pressurized. So
yes, but that's okay, but they're pitched, so you follow the pitch.
if they're correctly pitched.
If they're correctly pitched, yeah.
Right.
So anyway, I'm going to meet with these people in Fishkill on Thursday afternoon. I'm going to take Tom Wallbank along with me. I'm going to take my drawings along with them and show them what it is that we're trying to do. And I'll get back with you sometime next week and tell you what it is. But I think it probably would work well for the drainage system, because that's what they actually do also. And in your case, you don't have to displace anything. You can just pull a pipe through, or you can pull just like a, I don't want to say a word, but like a rubber,
Yeah.
a plastic sheet.
Like a liner?
Like a liner, yeah. Additionally, with the water distribution system upgrade that we are planning to do, I just wanted to tell you that I think I'm going to put a newsletter together, and actually probably 4 or 5, 3 months apart, where I start out first of all introducing the water distribution team that work here, and I talked to the union guys already, so that, because I want to train them with their names, We decided just going to have the first name in there, which is okay, and Pat and myself. And then talk about the history of the water system in here, in Rhinebeck, and then to start building on that, the problems we have, the cracks, the piping, and the repairs that we are making. And I want to do that over a period of about five newspaper articles, and so to keep the people apprised of what we're doing with the distribution system, the cost involved, and how we're going to pay for it, and on all these things. So nobody's going to be surprised when we're going to have when to build the thing. So we lost a lot of water in the last few weeks. At least we thought we did, and the water team and I, we spent almost 2 weeks scouring the countryside where we knew our water lines are received. We see any wet spots while we were still trying. We couldn't find anything except the one place where somebody left the faucet open, and in Rhinecliff the water spilled out and so on. But that went through the meter, so as far as I'm concerned, that's okay. But we found one area in the wastewater department where there has been a real heavy use of water, and essentially they had for a long time apparently going three hoses going at full pressure. Now at the wastewater plant level we have very high pressure, because it's we have 450 feet reservoir up there that brings that pressure in there. So I wanted to see how much we are using, and so I asked our guys to put in water meters in 2 additional areas. So we found 2 areas that were using the water but never got metered. There's only one that was metered, that was installed by the original builder, and that hasn't been using very much. I mean, a small amount, relatively speaking. So I'm looking forward to see what the results are. So far, we've seen heavy water use. I want to just tell you that we're losing about 20 million gallons a year, or we don't know where 20 million gallons a year go to. And I have a sense that a large part of that goes through the wastewater area, and we're trying to just get a handle on it and make the appropriate decisions on how to fix it. Water meters. We installed 19 old style. We replaced 19 old style water meters with the new Neptune e-coders, and year to date, we did about 135. My plan was to do in a year, a couple more months to go, about 150. These water meters cost about $250 a piece, so that's about $37,000 or $38,000, depending on where we install it. So I don't want to do it all in one shot. We've been doing that when Wayne Reifenberg was here. I think he started that program about 5 or 6 years ago. But I wanted to advance it a little bit, so I gave him a quota of how many I want to do, and I may end up again ask for more this coming year. We have done so far about 871 meters that we converted so far, but it's like 53% of what we have to do. So we still have another 800 to go. And at the pace that we are going, it will take us 4 to 5 years to do that. Now, other communities have done that, and they actually went out to borrow money and hired people to do it for them. And they did that in a year or 2. But I think that we can limp along and use our fund balance to eventually get this thing done. So, but I think in about 4 or 5 years we should be done with this item. Last thing, as far as the water distribution system is concerned, is I got a letter from the town supervisor, and she questioned the viability of our existing hydrants in the town. And I found out the reason she did that is we had Henry Campbell. I guess she requested of him to find out what our hydrants are capable of, and so he used the data that I gave to Henry and said, well, the hydrants are not performing the way they're supposed to do. And to some extent she was right. We tested 6 hydrants, so 3 instances, and of the 6 hydrants we found that 2 of them were subpar, they wouldn't pass ISO test. So she said, unless they get fixed, I guess she said she wanted to, or she didn't want to pay for them. We charge them $300 a month to rent, I'm sorry, $300 a year to rent these hydrants. And she said she didn't want to pay it until I can guarantee that these hydrants are working according to ISO specs, which I told her what they are. All right?
So, wait, I want to make sure I have this straight. She would have no idea how these hydrants are performing except for the information
That I gave her,
you
right.
went out and got and provided to them.
And we
Okay.
did it, we did it
Just
for
checking.
We did that for the village-wide. We tested probably about 50 hydrants or something like that
Right.
over the past year at the village and in Rhinebeck and so on. So the conundrum that I find myself in here is that I cannot fix, the hydrants are working okay, I told her that. I said it is the distribution system in the view that are not working well, that is at fault here. You know, if you don't get your 500 gallons a minute flow that you think you need, okay, we cannot do anything until we do a multi-million-dollar investment here to fix the distribution system, which we are trying to do here, little by little, okay? Actually, not little by little, it's very expensive, you know, to do that, and you have to spend millions and millions of dollars to do that. But I said, and the other questions you have is, she doesn't think, or the town board doesn't think, they need all the hydrants they have, so they want to do a study of that and so on. And my response to her, to the town board, to her and the town board was that if you decide that you don't want them, we are happy to take them out for you, and you know, assuming it is legal to do that, but you have to pay for that. We cannot leave just an active hydrant in the ground with water in it, and somebody hits it, or we don't know about it, and we don't test them, because they don't want them anymore. So, and here we're talking many thousands of dollars to take one out. It takes a lot of thousands of dollars to put one in. It takes us many out, because a lot of the hydrants don't have any shut-off valves. So before you can take a hydrant out, you have to put a wet tap into the system and to shut the hydrant off, and then we excavate them out. So I have not heard any response to that, but I'm just telling you this here, so you have a, so in case you hear that, so you know what is going on. Personnel, we have Ryan Elix. He completed all his operator training. I told you that last month already. But for some reason, we had the Dutchess County Department of Health came, and there's apparently a new procedure they have. They wanted to interview him, and they did, and they were happy with the interview. But now they have to send a report to Albany to get the approval. So the poor guy, you know, was supposed to be operator status by September 13th of this year. Now we're going into December sometime. And I'll come back to you again to make sure that he gets the right kind of remuneration at a level that he's at now, which we're paid. Lastly, electric rates. As you know, we signed a contract with Viridian at 7.99 cents a kilowatt hour, and I've been checking, you know, and see what Central Hudson does. And the average rate for the last 3 months from Central Hudson for supply, electricity supply, was 8.98 cents a kilowatt hour. So we're doing okay there. And that is all I have. I just wanted to make sure that you guys don't have a problem with me putting a one-page newsletter in the envelopes once every 3 months. Okay.
Can we see a draft?
Hmm?
Can we see a little draft? Can we work together on a draft?
I expect that you want to see that, and you put it a couple of weeks before.
Great.
Yeah, usually we approve any addition into the mailings anyway.
That's all I have.
Gary, wastewater?
The report for the wastewater treatment facility, month of November, 3.15 million gallons of wastewater treated, 4,759 gallons of sludge processed, and 5,803 pounds of sludge processed. And like partially because of the water issue that Heinz mentioned. We are at the very moment having an audit of the wastewater plant being done so that we can get a better handle on exactly what the process is down there, and whether was the water pure waste, do they need some of that water in that process, and so on. So we're looking forward to getting the report from that audit.
Time frame for that, for the audit, do we expect?
Probably the beginning of the year.
Yeah, they should finish up tomorrow and then have a preliminary report shortly, but then somewhere around the first of the year.
If I can just harken back somewhat, I think we need to, and I'm certainly going to press the board that I want to have paid, the water paid for that is being used within the municipality. That means the fire department, particularly the fire department, and the highway department. The reason I haven't done that yet is because we just installed a good size water meter down here, and I want to sort of monitor how much we're using, and we haven't found a place to put a water meter in the highway department yet. But as part of our budgeting process, I think we need to include the cost of resources, and water is one of them, because it costs us quite a bit of money to make the water, and if we have to fix a lot of the distribution system, we need to pay for it. Everybody has to pay for it.
I think metering is a good idea. I think we should discuss what we charge the various departments for and so on.
Are you going to be able to separate the one in this building between the
No, we can't, but I would think
offices
that
and the fire department?
the only thing that is being used in the building that is not a fire department is one toilet, and and a sink.
You can put micrometers, you can put smaller meters on after the main, so you can, what they call micrometers, so you can break that further. But even, yeah, so what we can talk about the cost of water to all the different departments, whether there's a reduced rate or whatever it is. So I guess once we meter it, we'll be able to talk.
Okay. Scott,
Is it fire?
you're right there. I forgot you last month, so.
Okay.
I got you right on target this time.
Well, I got a couple of things. I guess the report's not in there because Pat was having problems with Excel.
Okay.
The monthly call volume for the month of November for the town, there was 24 emergency medical service calls, 20 fire calls, and 3 motor vehicle accident calls. In the village, there was 26 EMS calls, 11 fire calls, and 1 motor vehicle accident in the village, for a total of 50 EMS calls altogether, 21 fire calls, and 4 motor vehicle accidents, for a total of 85 calls for the month of November. And that's the beginning of the new year, so that the year ended in October, and so those same totals are to date. I also have a recommendation for the addition of 3 new members to the fire department that came from Vice President Ken Scattergood. And they are Helen Nessel-Knapp, Henry DeVries, and Jose Alberto Andrade. And I'd like to make a motion that this board accept those applications.
Second?
All those in favor? Aye. Great. Just as a little bit of an update, we have been working with Barry Nietzsche's, and this has kind of been an ongoing thing, and we've been gathering information and getting bits and pieces of information, and I think Pat got some information last month. We weren't 100% sure that it was accurate. So we reached out to the Department of Real Tax today and got some real information as to the amount of commercial buildings and residential buildings both in the town and in the village. And that was kind of like the last piece that we needed to get to Barry so he could do an analyzation of the fire department and such. So now that we've got that, we got those numbers, we're hoping to get kind of an official report from the Department of Real Tax. We'll get that off to Barry.
Was it significantly different than what we got from the town?
It was.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, the numbers are maybe 3 times.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, so it was 800 before, we're up to 2,400 buildings that we're protecting, residential this accurate information would be probably a little bit better. That's it for the fire department.
Can I ask you a question? I don't know if you have the answer, because I'm putting you on the spot here. But you said that the year ended in October for the fire department?
Yes.
So do you have the numbers of this year compared to last year?
I don't have the comparison from last year to this year. I do have, last month's was the,
Yeah, I think we reported it last month. It was a little bit shy of last year's year. Last year we were just over 800, and this year is what, like 790 something?
do we have a one year versus the next?
No.
Yeah, I don't. But the year to date, how about this, Howie? How about I'll report that next month?
Yeah, no problem.
The last bit on fire, today is our fire chief's birthday, Chief Asher, so on behalf of the village, we'd like to wish him a happy birthday. We got him cake, but he's not here, so we'll have to eat it.
Yeah.
Thank you for your service and your
Yeah,
volunteerism. Appreciate it.
we could set a fire alarm.
Get him to come.
Get him down here.
It's a good
I
idea.
didn't say that.
All right, Howie, street department.
Okay, Mike reports that leaf pickup is going well, and I have put here interrupted by the Thanksgiving Eve snowstorm, so the leaf truck was changed over for plowing and hauling. That means that the leaf truck with the vacuum on it is now not going to be used to pick up any more leaves this year because it's switched over for plowing and sanding. Mike's been off for the last couple of days with bronchitis. I wanted to ask him about picking up more leaves because I see there's more piles of leaves out there.
They were out there today in the main drag picking them up.
Okay. Okay, and as he reports, the 11/26 snowstorm, which was Thanksgiving Eve, was handled well, no problems to report. Tree limbs and the brush from the storm was already picked up. The Rockefeller Park fence was broken from that storm, and they have fixed that. A snow thrower for the Bobcat is on its way to us. That's the snow thrower we approved a couple months ago. It came in? Okay. It's here. Preparations for Sinterklaas are all set, as Mike reports here, and Sinterklaas happened a couple days ago. It's a very successful event. I'd like to thank Gene Fleming for that event. Brings a lot of people into Rhinebeck. And I'd like to note that cleanup after Sinterklaas was offered to the Highway Department at an overtime basis, and everyone denied. So then, as per union rules, it goes to the Water Department and the Wastewater Department based on seniority, and everybody else denied there too. So, just wanted to make a note of that.
Are we gonna do one more brush pickup, or are we done with the?
No, they were picking up today.
Yeah, they're gonna continue.
We're going to continue.
Because I had a lot of damage.
Yeah, they have to because of
Yeah.
that storm.
Yeah, so I can still put them out.
Yes.
Yes.
Put it in front of Howie's house.
How is that? Or yours?
No.
No, I'd like them to keep picking up the brush and the leaves, if there's any out there, unless we have a major snowstorm and everything's covered up. But thankfully today that didn't happen. We had a lot of rain today. So, as I said, Mike was out, so I couldn't really talk to him. So I do want them to keep picking up brush and leaves, whatever's out there. That's it, unless anybody has any questions.
I'd just like to compliment Chris Schluter when he took over for Mike when he was on vacation, and you mentioned that Thanksgiving storm, they did a nice job of pushing on with the leaf pickup. They got the entire village completed as the snow was starting, and then transferred over all the mounted the plows and the sanders, and were out later that night cleaning up snow, so it worked out well.
Yeah, it is quite a job. The dump trucks that we have are fitted with the sanders, they're put in the back, and plows on the front, obviously. And it is quite a job putting them on. So what they've done is they put them on, then they take them off to pick up the leaves and the brush again. They've done that twice, I believe, so far.
And they came this morning, very, very early, before 7 o'clock, and it's salt on the road.
Yeah, today there was freezing rain this morning, and they were in the village early this morning. I'd like to thank them for getting here and salting the roads. That's it.
And give us our tree report.
Yeah, tree report. Everybody got the tree report? was a few issues with planning board. Planning board requires certain properties to plant trees, so that's an ongoing thing here, and which will be resolved. And the tree commission is looking for a 5th team member, so if you're interested in trees, planting trees, we welcome you to come and put an application in with Pat in the office. And one of our, Judy Merritt, she's a tree commission member, suggested that the position could be filled by a junior or senior high schooler, looking as a way for younger people to get involved in government, and also they could receive credit for their service, for their high school community service they have to get. So if anybody is interested in junior or senior, we'd welcome you also. There was just one request to have the tree taken down, 35 Oak Street, and she is a neighbor of Brian Del Pizio, the tree commission chairman, so he was going to talk to her about that. There seems to be a question as whether Central Hudson was going to be taking it down or if we have to take it down. So that was it for the takedowns. We did have a tree taken down, 50 Chestnut Street, which was taken down by Central Hudson because a lot of wires went through it and there was a transformer near there. And the highway department is going to be taking down a tree on 12 South Street, which is dead. It's a small enough tree that we can take it down on our own once they have time, when the brush and the leaves are picked up and the snow stops. And I believe that's it for the tree commission.
I did meet with a representative from Central Hudson regarding the trees. Their arborist that runs the they don't call it pruning, so I think they call it clearing. So there's a very clear distinction that they maintain their corridor, with specific distances around the wire, which is the top wire. So I guess there's ongoing confusion about what Central Hudson will and will not do when it comes to removing trees. I know the topic comes up a lot when we have requests for removal. And he offered to, sit in on a tree commission meeting. He has had some very let's say, strong ideas about which trees should be and should not be planted underneath the wires. He also had some, recommendations and ideas just about, removals and replacements. So I think it would be good to hook him up with the tree commission. Pete
McFarland?
That may be it. Yeah, he's worked with Mike before. Even on the website, there's a list of suggested trees on the Central Hudson website that Pat downloaded for us. But I think that would be a good idea to.
Oh yeah, we welcome him. We actually met with him, if it's the same person, a few
About
years
3 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think there was a different focus of that meeting, maybe.
Yeah.
He did recall it, but he had some ideas. He did say that they would help with anything that gets the trees out of the service line, the higher, they're all for that. So for instance, on the south side of East Market Street, he said they would be a willing partner in removal of the dying locust trees that are entangled in the wires up there. But their primary concern is that top wire, and that's where their zone comes from. So the smaller wires that go out the service lines to individual houses,
Right.
and the lower wires on the poles, which are cable and phone, are not there.
Yeah, he explained to us that due to the Homeland Security Act, believe it or not, they have to maintain the high wires, like you said, the highest wire.
Yeah,
I believe it was 10 feet within those wires have to be cleared.
right. So in working together with like our tree commission, they could try to avoid 20 years from now having, the tree with the hole in the middle of it, or the one that looks like a, football goalpost. So if we pick the right trees now, everybody wins.
Well, that's why the tree commission is interested in planting outside of the right of way. I asked Rich about that, if he could look into that.
Oh, yeah, sent you a report on that.
You did?
I believe so.
Okay. I'll have to double
I mean,
check on that.
he had some other I don't want to say recommendations, just he brought up that some communities will, on the side of the street that carries the utilities, in this case, the south side of East Market, they would plant lower, shrub, bush type plants, and then on the opposite side, where there are no wires, then you're free to plant a lot more. He was able to reference communities where you could look at, what the finished product looks like, all the above. So something maybe to consider when we're moving down that street.
Right.
Because it's quickly approaching, they're dying rapidly.
Well, that's what with the planning board, there's a few places that we're gonna be planting trees next year. From the M&T Bank, where the gentleman fixed the
Yeah.
sidewalk, so there's a few trees slated to go in there, and across the street from there, he also owns the buildings over there by the Grand Cru.
So we may have been, it seems like they, the tree commission and maybe Central Hudson are on the same page on a lot of things, in terms of, reducing. We took out 5 trees, we're gonna put in 2.
Right.
Maybe there were too many in the given spaces, but maybe we should try to get on the same page in terms of the species that we choose.
And on the same subject, as I said, if you put new lines in here, new water lines on Route 9, depending on where we're going to put these lines, there may be an impact to the trees. I walked the area there between the hospital and South Street, and if we were to decide to lay them in where the sidewalk is, or in the general neighborhood, we probably would have to replace some trees, and we have an opportunity to put them there where we want to put them, kind of trees. So don't hurry on the east side of Route 9 and replacing trees. Do the other trees
Right.
first.
This side of Route 9?
Might it also,
That's Grand Cru, where you just mentioned Grand Cru,
we're going to be ripping up that area anyway, might it also be an opportunity to bury some power lines?
First of all, I don't know whether we're going to rip up
I
anything.
know, I'm saying,
Okay.
if,
We had talked to, Heath and I had talked to what's his name? Well, one of the.
Mark Mulpeter.
Yeah, Mark Mulpeter. And he was said, absolutely not.
now Mark is Central Hudson
Yeah.
also?
Yeah, he's a sort of a vice president.
Yeah, I've spoken to a couple of people over there, and that's pretty much the same answer they get, but
What, they don't like underground wires?
No,
Basically, they're an overhead utility company.
Oh.
That's,
Yeah.
basically
That's a nice
the short of it, yeah.
Right. And I think I understand some of the reluctance, but I would, for myself, I'd still like to have them engage with us in the conversation about what's in the best interest of our community in the long run.
As you can see in our tree commission notes, we talked about that last month. But,
I guess it was recently done in Saugerties in the last, 5 years or so?
I believe so.
They went underground with a lot, but it all came from, funding outside of Central Hudson.
Right.
They're not gonna pay to
Well-
replace their overhead lines that are working.
I know of communities where the communities accepted a certain higher tax rate over a period of time, and the municipalities have paid some, and Central Hudson contributed a certain amount of labor and was part of the process also. I mean, the savings in the long run are tremendous, especially in wintertime.
And also from a viewshed point of view.
I mean, every new subdivision that's built, there's no question, so that tells you something. People understand that that's the way to go when you,
Well, in every country that is emerging from a backward country to a newer country, everything is underground. They always have the latest technology.
Right.
And we are just.
Soon we'll be emerging again.
That's right.
well, at the very least, I'd like to talk to you about Platt Avenue, when you do the water lines there, we should put a new drainage system in
Yeah.
there.
Except they cannot be coincident. They have to
Well,
be-
how close, how far?
A minimum of 10 feet, from what I understand.
Okay,
But something needs to be done there.
yeah,
What we have is a couple of holes in the ground
right,
to collect the water.
okay.
You guys got anything for planning or zoning?
I think you have something, don't you? You have a new chair of your zoning board?
You know, was Colton Johnson formally?
Well, that's what we're doing. I spoke to him. We'd come up with a tentative plan over the summer when we were bridging the gap of Francois' retirement. And, you know, Colton has agreed to come on as the chair of the zoning board of appeals. So I will make a motion to appoint him as the chair.
Second.
Discussion?
How long is the appointment for? A year or two? 2 years?
I think it's 2.
Is it? I thought it was, wasn't it 4? But he's already in a term, so I'm not sure how that works.
Oh, okay. I thought it was, I was under the impression that it was 2 years.
Okay. The chairmanship?
Well, you know
is 2
what the
years?
chairmanship is?
Because I thought each member comes up every 4 years, I think, but we'll let Pat confirm that for us.
Okay.
I just was asking a question.
Well, you know what it is that I think sometimes too, I think that I've seen them alternate within a term sometimes because the responsibility of being the chair is kind of.
Right.
So, but yes, Pat, you can verify it.
Yeah, we have a situation where, you know, Colton will be no, we did vote, right? No, he's the chair. So Colton's the chair, and he travels over the summer.
To Michigan.
Yes, to Michigan. So Al DeCray has agreed to, you know, kind of be his fill-in. He'll be the interim chair in Colton's absence, the summer months.
And other than that, just that the zoning commission has been meeting. We meet again tomorrow night. And, just be nice for the citizens of Rhinebeck to know, if they don't already know, we have a tremendous amount of expertise in the village on zoning and planning matters. It's been very impressive to me to be at the table with Colton and other people going over our zoning code. So.
Yeah, no, it's a big undertaking. So yeah, we've been meeting twice a month, and we're meeting again tomorrow. And our hopes is to have something together and before the public. I think by March. That's the goal for the public hearing. Stay on that track.
Okay. A few months ago, well, maybe 6 months ago, I had an audit, a cash audit for the village, and one of the things that was pointed out that the planning and zoning area needed to tighten up some of the procedures.
Yep. So yeah, certainly we can do a re-audit, but after receiving that audit, I sat with them and we went over, and because they made some recommendations. It was the amount of time from when they collected checks to when they deposited them, and some of those things. And so I sat with those members and went over those things. And so they put together a protocol by which they do those. I mean, other than me asking them again or doing a re-audit,
Well, I
we'd
just
be able
wanted
to.
to know whether it was done.
Yeah, we've implemented those changes. I've not checked in with them again to see if they've maintained it, but they got the message, recommendations. But yeah, that was a while. That was 6 months ago.
6 months.
Yeah.
So for the police report, in November, there were 27 incidents in the town, 93 in the village, 9 tickets in the town, 53 in the village, 5 arrests total, and 7 accidents total. Recapping their month, they had the Durango broke down during the Turkey Trot event, which is the road race to support Ferncliff Forest on Thanksgiving Day. It was repaired and is back in service. They had Bettini Fuel come in and repair the hot water heater over there. They had a problem with an improper installation when the building was built. So now instead of going through the roof, you'll notice they come right out towards the parking area. So the snow load should not choke out the hot water heater anymore. Said the Chamber of Commerce tree lighting event on the 30th was without incident. Mentioned the Santa Claus parade of this past Saturday. There were 19 parking tickets issued, and 11 calls for service during the day. And that, we'll be scheduling an after-action meeting sometime in the next month or two to, kind of get started for next year. And the only other thing I had, yes?
I was gonna mention who Sinterklaas was, Sinterklaas.
Oh,
Well, just in case nobody knew, it was our distinguished board member, Scott Cruikshank, was Mr. Sinterklaas for the night.
It was very hard to recognize though.
Yes.
Yes,
Not a whole lot there.
Yeah.
Yes, it was an incredible experience, and I thank Gene and everybody who dedicated their time to, especially in a rainy and windy and cold event that it turned out to be, but it was still spectacular. Just happy to be a part of it.
You looked great.
and please
It's
come
hard
to
not
our, please come to our January meeting, he'll be in full Santa Claus costume. We had talked a few times about an amendment to our code about parking over here on Duryway, right out front of the town hall. So I'd like to schedule a public hearing. Can we do that for our next meeting?
I think I gave you the draft, and I was just waiting if there was
Yeah.
additional.
It has to do with moving the,
Extending to no parking on the south side of East Market, right in front of the town hall, because of impaired visibility coming out of Center Street.
Didn't we have a couple of recommendations? This is all under the vehicle and traffic, right?
That was the only one that stuck. There was another recommendation for the end of Parsons Street.
Yeah, at Platt.
Yes, but from what I'm told, that those signs have been there. The ones that were requested, it was kind of a recycled request somehow made to us.
Oh, that they're there?
Yeah, that there's a,
You know what it is?
there's
Is
a stop
that
sign there.
I think it was coming out of the fairgrounds, that sign is not there. If you're coming from the fairgrounds and you get to the intersection of Platt on the right-hand side, it's not there. So maybe it's missing, and that it was already supposed to be there.
My understanding was that they want a sign going in to stop people so that they could, remind them that there is no outlet down there, and that they didn't want a stop sign coming out because it would impede, when they're letting the fare out, they didn't want a stop sign there. That was, I looked into it, and that was I mean, we could,
I live on the street and I don't have any
any
issue
problems.
with what's there.
Okay. So I'd like to schedule a public hearing for, what is our date? January, do we know? As long as we post it, right? We're fine? So for our January meeting, we'll open that meeting with a public hearing to discuss the drafted change to,
It should be January 13th.
okay, January 13th, which would be an extension of no parking right in front of the town hall to improve visibility, coming on Center Street. Moving on to special requests, we talked last month about, there was a proposal to mount a bracket along with some orange flags on the crosswalks. The concept was to do a pilot study on the one that goes in front of Terrapin on the corner of Livingston Street there. And the question was was if it was going to be okay with the DOT. That's been checked, there's no restriction. So that's the,
so we're gonna have like the 3 sides, the flags on 4 sides here?
no, it'll probably be just one side. I think in total, it'll look like probably that picture in there. So there'll be one bracket, and I think there's a spot identified. And Dr. Tumwell from Rhinebeck Animal Hospital, he's offered to finance the pilot of this, as he's seen it successful. And I understand, I haven't seen it, but in our police department's research into it, that they use a similar system in New Paltz. I don't know if any of you guys have ever seen it over there, but.
Well, you'd have to have something on either side.
Yeah, there'll be a bracket on either side with the flags. And that was the remaining question last time, whether there was a restriction on using what seemed to be standardized, flagman flags, so, and there is not.
So are these flags going to be left there overnight?
Yes. And that's part of the pilot study,
Okay.
and the animal hospital will be providing the bracket, whether they can find one or has to be fabricated, or the brackets, one on each side. And they will supply the flags, and if the flags become a popular souvenir, then they will replace them for, I don't know, an indefinite period, and, you know, if it becomes a, you know, like I said, it would be a pilot, and if it seemed to be a success, then we could come back here and talk about extending it to maybe the other crosswalks, or if it's not a success, then, you know, we could revoke the.
Well, as one who walks the streets a lot, particularly in East Market Street here, I find that the people, the drivers pretty much obey the crosswalk signs. And anybody just looking to walk over there, people stop. And in all the days that I've been here and looking, I've never seen anybody who's not paying attention to that. Now, Route 9 is a different story.
Well, this one's on Route 9.
Yeah, that's a-
And
How will you know when you walk up to a telephone pole with a flag bracket on it, and it's got 6 flags, how will you know what to do with it?
well, there's gonna be a sign there, and there's a.
Is there a sign, is there a proposed sign here?
Yeah. For your safety, please carry a flag with you as you cross the street.
And how big is it, and how does it get posted? It can't go on the telephone pole.
It's gonna go with the bracket, and I believe it's gonna go on to
freestanding.
Well,
the pole.
there's no, I think at that crosswalk there, you can't put anything on the telephone poles.
Unless we give permission. But I think it maybe would go right on the sign that we put in that has the,
Crosswalks on
yeah,
the
crosswalk.
with the downward directional.
Is that right at the crosswalk, or is that?
It's very close to it. It's supposed to be very close to it anyway. Yes.
I wonder how the Terrapins gonna like it when they see all these.
So it'll bring
Well,
attention.
when you say this is a pilot program, is there like a time limit we're going to say to see if this is working, or?
Do you want to? I guess we could do that.
I think that's part of the description of a pilot program. At some point, you assess what has taken place.
6
Do
months?
you have a?
Oh, that long?
That long?
Well,
Well, I think
I'm
we'd
thinking-
want to hit the busy pedestrian time.
yeah, I'm thinking.
So do you want to wait until it's a little bit more, that it's a prime time to test it? Better season?
Okay.
Like March or April or something.
Not that long.
April, May, June?
How about April through June or something like that?
I mean, it might take us that long to get the
Yeah.
right equipment. get
I
the
mean, I can
permission.
speak from experience. I've stood with my child at the thing that stands in the middle of the road while cars fly by me, and yeah,
On Route
absolutely.
9.
On both.
Both.
I mean, some people are cognizant and some aren't. Maybe they won't see an orange flag either. I don't know that. So, do we want to define the term, the start date, the end date?
Yeah, so
Yeah,
April
motion.
1st. April
Okay.
1st to May 31st, or June 1st.
3 months, April 1st to July 1st?
Yes.
3 months.
Maybe the Terrapin would want to contribute to the flags, have a little Terrapin.
Okay. So I'll make the motion to approve the pilot study with the flags beginning April 1st and then July, ending July 1st with a review at the July board meeting.
Right, and so prior to this commencement of this pilot program, I think that I'd like to see some sort of submission as to the bracket, the sign, where it gets mounted, how many, flags, the whole thing. If
No
that-
more than 6, I'll add that to the
I
motion.
don't even think it matters the quantity, I'd just like to
Okay.
see the way the whole thing kind of comes together. I don't want to, if it's going to be successful, it's got to be pretty well planned.
Yeah.
And I'd like to be able to see some of those things.
Well, they have a model here from Utah that was.
Yeah, so they can, so they're not reinventing the wheel, so.
Right. And maybe in that time we can work with New Paltz as well.
Yeah.
We can take a look.
So I put forth the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any more discussion on it? All those in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Next, we have I think we may be out of order here, but we have a request from, or an application from Daryl's for a sidewalk sale. And they've listed the dates on here. And our code limits it to 15 days per year, and that's exactly what they listed. Appears to be 5 3-day periods.
So my question is, when is a regular sidewalk sale? Is that once a year or twice a year, the
I
sidewalk?
think that they did one in the
I believe it's
spring,
twice
one in
the
the fall.
chamber sidewalk sale.
So this is in addition to,
Well, I don't know if if it overlaps the dates, or if, you know, it seems like this is gonna be a sidewalk sale all summer long.
Yeah,
and if everybody does it at a different time, then the question is, well, he does it, why can't I? Yeah.
Right.
He's got a permit.
Yeah.
So maybe we can limit it to the 2 approved sidewalk sale events plus 3 other periods. How long, the sidewalk sale is a 2-day event?
No, I think it starts on Friday.
Oh, it is a 3-day? Okay. So that basically, that would eliminate 2 of their, you know, we could approve it that way.
well, that'd be 6 dates. So 6 minus 15 would be 9. Is that-
No, it's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so it would be 2 3-day,
Yeah.
so, yes. We're saying the same thing. So remove 2 of their 3-day periods, you know, so we'd only allow 2 of the pre-approved group sidewalk sales plus 3 others.
Do we know when they are?
I don't think I've gotten anything from
Okay, well, we have, you know what, there's
What I'm
nothing
willing to
on here
bet
till
is-
May,
Yeah, we can wait on this.
so why don't we,
And that's why there's none in here in June. That's probably when the sidewalk sale is.
okay, so let's, yeah, we got time till May. So Pat, you can,
Table?
Table this.
yeah, until the chamber ones are confirmed. What's that?
Something in the buyout?
Yeah, other business under here, we have a request from Pat Kuhn to buy out 70 hours of vacation leave. She has accumulated 284 hours. Confirmed by Pat Kuhn.
And I,
Should we bring that before the ethics board?
that's right. Speaking of,
So I'll make a motion to approve the request.
second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next on the agenda,
What's that?
ethics board.
Yeah, I have I'd like to just touch base on committees in general. We have an ethics committee that has been dormant for
At least 3 years.
at least 3 years. So,
I guess the question we would have to answer is this a committee that we want? I think it's good for us to have one, but do they just exist? So if something comes up, we can call on them? Or is it a committee we'd like to meet once a year just to discuss?
Well, I was part of the ethics committee 3 years ago, and, or 4 years ago when I started that. And we actually put out a number of resolutions of what we wanted to do, how we're doing in certain issues. And then we couldn't get enough people to come, and it eventually died.
But do you, I didn't find anything in writing, and I don't know. You know, I knew John Halpern, and I've spoken to him, he's still willing to serve. I mean, my feeling is a good thing. I think the village should not have one. If an issue came up, it'd be great to have a committee to be able to hand it to. And it's all just to have it. We don't have to request that they meet, or we could. So I think that's a good question that we would answer. Do we?
yeah, it seems that the problem may be that, if an issue only comes up every, more than 3 years between issues, and the committee lies dormant, then when you need them, committee doesn't exist anymore. So I don't know if it's something that we can, maybe keep names and then convene them on an as-needed basis, and, we'd have to add to them and on-demand kind of situation.
That's one thing. The other thing is that maybe we ought to have our current ethics reviewed. Now, this particular person here, I happen to know him, but he's a fairly high-powered attorney, and he has been named to the state ethics board to vet young lawyers, essentially. So he's very well versed in the subject matter, and I think it would be a shame to lose his expertise.
But I guess that's what I was suggesting.
I guess we can appoint them, because we have a committee, it just happens to be,
Dormant committee.
yes, a dormant with an indeterminate number of,
Participants.
dormantly active members,
I
yes.
had 3 names that were on the ethics board, and then I had 4 that were on the finance and controls committee,
Yeah.
because they're
Okay.
both tied kind of together,
Yeah, and they've both been,
dormant.
dormant for
Now,
a minimum of 2.
I'm not familiar, Sam Reifler, is that you?
Yep, Sam, your wife, and John Halpin
Right, okay.
on ethics, and then John Worth, Heinz Sauer, Susanna Renzi, and Timothy Fitzpatrick on the finance and controls.
Okay.
I'm assuming we would have a liaison to the committee when we needed to convene it. So we would want to have a member of our board on the committee, I would assume. So I guess we can appoint him, and he's kind of in the on the bench, ready to go when we need him.
How did this come up?
I felt it was, my wife was on the ethics committee, felt it was inappropriate for the spouse of a village board member to be on the committee. So I mentioned that to a few people, and Arun Lahiri was recommended to me, and like you said, I thought it would be unfortunate that he was willing to serve, that we should take advantage of his willingness. So he was,
But right now, we don't know if anybody's on the committee.
well, John, I've spoken to John Halpern. He's willing to continue to serve
So this will be at a minimum number 2.
at a minimum number 2.
Okay.
And I don't know about Mr. Reifler, I'll
Okay.
reach out.
I like your idea, Keith, though, is that to have a bunch of pre-approved people in the case that we do need one, but like you said, we don't need them for years at a time, maybe.
Yeah.
But just so that we always have a lot of.
Yeah, so we know we've already discussed and, kind of confirmed that their qualifications or that, they're a good choice for a committee. And then if we had an issue come up, we could, try to get, at least 3 of these people back together. So, we have a
I'll
motion.
reach out to
Does the
Mr.
committee have a
Reifler.
size, a specific size?
I think it's 5 to 7. I think Pat read that to me over the phone.
And that probably would make sense, because if we don't call on them
Yeah.
for years at a time, that it's likely that 2 or 3 could fall off out of a committee
Yeah.
of 7, and we'd still have 5, which is still good.
Yeah.
That's what happened the last time.
Yeah.
But this is the finance and controls committee. So is the ethics board part of the finance and controls committee?
I
Because the
don't think
finance and
It was
controls
run by the
is
same
separate.
person the
Separate.
last time. I mean, Brian
Yeah.
Whittaker.
yeah, I think it's separate.
Because I couldn't find where it said about
There's 3 members on the board.
on the ethics.
Should
Okay.
probably make it 5.
Yeah, if we have 5 names, then you can get 3 people together to convene a meeting, that'd be pretty good,
Yeah, quorum.
pretty good shape, yes.
Well, the village board appoints 3 under 6-18.
Okay.
For the ethics board?
It's established under 6-18 of the code, and it consists of 3 members appointed by the board.
And right now, we don't know if we still have, we know we have 1.
Okay, I think we have 2. John Halpern, 2.
No, I meant John Halpern from the original group. Your wife is out,
Right.
and there was only 3 to begin with. Okay, so we gotta check with Sam Reifler. Regardless, there's one vacancy because
Right.
your wife resigned. Okay,
They have to be residents of the village?
Yes.
yeah. I'm assuming he is?
Yeah, he says
Oh,
he is.
Okay. So is there a motion on that?
What does the motion read?
Well, we're approving
Right.
the appointment
We'll
of
appoint him
Mr.
to the
Lahiri
ethics board.
to the ethics committee.
Was that a motion?
That's a motion.
Okay, thanks, Gary. Any discussion on that?
Second motion. Right.
That was already done.
Oh, okay,
How we thirded it?
okay.
All right. All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
While we're on committees, I talked a couple times about the park at Crystal Lake, the Legion Park there, and, my personal, desire to see it improved. So I was actually approached by someone in the community who wanted to be on our recreation committee. I said, well, that is a generous offer, but we don't have one. So I wonder if maybe we should have either a parks committee or, recreation committee that, that could look at, I know we had our tree commission kind of looking at that
Right.
park down there, but there's probably more to it than, the trees and green space, but maybe a group that could look at the viability of what we can do with that space, and maybe also be involved in, the other park spaces that we do have. I know we have recently taken over the responsibility for the Doughboy, so maybe, that kind of stuff could fall under our Parks and Recreation Committee. I know we have some, we have representatives on that, on the Thompson Meserole Park Committee, we have a village representative on there, but, the village also has an interest in, even though it's a town project, we have an interest in that as well. So,
Great idea.
Well, I might know a person who would be willing to chair that committee.
okay,
I'll get a hold of him.
okay.
So we're saying we're looking to create.
Yeah, so I'd like to make a motion to create a committee on, I guess, Parks and Recreation, cover it all.
I would second that.
Sounds weird like the TV show, but I think that would be their purpose. Any more discussion on that? All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So Rich, we can do that? Do we have to,
So.
do we have to define the number of members? Do we have to define the number of members now in the creation of it?
No, I mean,
Okay.
it's a committee that you're forming.
It's
that
fluid.
advises the board.
Advisory board, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But how should we go about, you should make an announcement to the public?
Yeah, we will have, we'll put out an informational notice, press release that we're seeking members. We will, at this moment, make an appeal to our viewers. If there's anyone who would like to participate and help us out with that task, please contact the village hall.
Sounds great.
The next one here, we have a proposal from the Rhinebeck Historical Society. They have stepped up and volunteered to scan our village minutes, which go back to 1834 to 1866. And then there's a brief gap that's missing from 1866 to 1910.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah. So we need to get these scanned in. It was probably the Great Fire. Yeah.
I think that's an
Who was
excellent
President
idea.
Nixon's secretary?
Yes.
Mary,
Yeah, so-
So, I'd like to make a motion to allow them to do so.
Second.
Any discussion?
I'd just like to say, my son has been volunteering with the Historic Society for about a year doing scanning for them, and I guess this is going to be his next project.
We're gonna have to check that out with the Ethics Committee.
Exactly.
No,
Yes.
it's volunteer, he's getting,
No, because you were gonna excise your stuff out of, he's gonna take away any embarrassing things about you.
not from the 1800s. Once he gets to the year, 2008, we can have him stop, let somebody else do it.
I will,
You have to vote.
what's that?
We didn't vote.
Second.
Oh,
We were discussing that.
oh, he jumped in on the discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
On our, I know our, we also have a, was it a technology or, oh, no, it's website committee, right? So, I guess it doesn't apply to the committees, but the fiber optic cable for the tech grant has been run between the town hall and here at the village hall, so someday soon we should have connectivity to the server, which will be sharing services, and getting some other technology upgrades here, some hardware upgrades, workstations.
That will be, the server will be resident in town.
The server is, yes, it's on the stage in the town hall in a big cage. Yep,
Secure and everything.
yes. And we don't have a key, but I assume it's secure. I do have one, is there 2 correspondents? I got one just today, so you're not going to see it in there. Just opened it before the meeting. So this is from Lily Page, a lifelong resident of Rhinebeck. She wrote to express her concern about limited parking in the village, and that with continued growth, that she's asking the village board to consider the need for parking. Want to do the water and sewer adjustment signs?
Yeah, I thought we took out the $378 village limit. You and I had talked, I think that is the wastewater, right?
Yes, let's see, we just approved this, and this was done on Friday for everybody's notebook, so I did not change it.
Okay.
And I thought we were just going to make one motion to accept these, or are we?
Yeah, but I.
Yeah, unless there's a question,
I
yeah.
have the question because I thought we discussed.
Yes, that's
it.
taken in.
Okay.
And
So with the removal of which
it
one?
was put back in, the $378.
So that, with that missing, we can approve these?
So I make a motion to approve the wastewater and water adjustments as stated.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Assuming there's no discussion. We got approval of the minutes. Looks like September 15th and October 14th.
You may not have had time to read them yet.
What's that?
You may not have had time to read them yet.
But did you send them out by email, right?
No, I don't think so.
Well,
Okay. Well, we'll hold off on those until,
Those for next,
Yeah.
special meeting.
yes, we'll address these next week in our special meeting.
Budget.
What's that?
The budget meeting.
Yes, the budget meeting. Does anyone else have any other business out there?
Well, I see something here. I guess this should not be in here, right?
Isn't that, that's part of the minutes, that's entered as part of the minutes.
Oh, no,
from
this is part, oh.
the previous
I'm sorry,
month, yeah.
I'm sorry.
So nothing else?
I'm looking, I don't think so. Do we have any members of the public that want to say anything? No?
So I'll make a motion to enter executive session to discuss the employment history of an employee.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I'll make the motion to adjourn the executive session.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Have a good night.
Thank you.